Oh, good evening. I'm very pleased to be able to tell you all some good news. I've been going on about it for long enough, haven't I? Well, you'll be glad to know that Roswell Redeemed is now here. That's right. Roswell Redeemed Humanity After Disclosure is now available, and there's a link in the description box, as per her Panmo TV tradition, where you can actually find out more and indeed buy a copy. It's only available as a paperback book at the moment, and maybe, I don't know if I'll change that, but that's how it is at the moment, like all the others. Now, this is actually the third part of the Roswell trilogy that I have written, and, well, it's, I'll just play you the trailer that I posted a little while ago. And I don't know how many of you actually remember this, but a few months earlier, before I posted the trailer, I made another video which was actually called a Presidential Disclosure Speech, and here it is. Now, you may have noticed actually before I play it that this is a piece of viral marketing, and it begins as a certain video, but then it ends as a little bit of a plug for the upcoming book. So I actually enjoyed making this video very much, so check it out.
But they don't know the way to the pub.
I know. Drive on. Hey, wait for us. I can only do 7.5 miles an hour.
This is BBC One. In a change to our scheduled programme, we now go to a live special report from Washington, D.C., where an announcement by the President of the United States will shortly be taking place. My fellow Americans, people of the world, no doubt you are aware of the phenomenon of unidentified flying objects and the speculation about what they might or might not be. I have spent long hours in consultation with key members of our defense and intelligence services over this matter, along with the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and a number of experts in the scientific community. I am now in a position to inform you, the American people and people throughout the world, that there is overwhelming evidence now that the United States of America and the world at large beyond our borders is being interacted with by an intelligence that is not human and does not originate on planet Earth. The exact nature of this intelligence is not currently known, but research into this question is well advanced. However, let me reassure you that there is no indication that this said intelligence has hostile intentions towards the United States and the human race in general. The aforementioned interaction has been ongoing for many decades at least, and no harm has been done to us so far. If anything, I would comment that it appears we are under neutral, detached observance of some kind by this intelligence. I will shortly be making available, by executive order, an extensive press package containing newly declassified material relating to this subject. This will be free to distribute to all media outlets. I am also establishing, via another executive order, a new government department reporting directly to me to manage this matter, an Office of Extraterrestrial Affairs. I am well aware that the inherent nature of my announcement this evening is worrying and frightening. I understand your feelings, but also have a duty to maintain an environment of calm debate. Therefore, I have instructed the Secretary of the Treasury to order the closure of all banks for a period of 1 week, and the closure of the stock markets until further notice. I have also instructed all state governors that the National Guard will be available to any of them who feel they require its assistance to maintain law and order. I believe that a similar announcement to the one I am giving now is also being delivered in most of the countries of the world, simultaneously or within a few hours due to differences in time zones. I shall now give way to a separate broadcast from the White House press briefing room, where the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Treasury, and other officials will discuss the various details of what I have just outlined. We are safe. Our nation is safe. The planet Earth is safe. We will move into this new era together. I believe we all have a right to know, and a need to know. May God bless us and protect us. It's just a little bit of humour there. I hope you appreciated that. It's these sort of things are quite good actually. It's getting the point across, and it draws people's attention in, and gets them focused on a particular issue. Then you bring in a product to associate yourself with that issue. Perfectly ethical salesmanship, I would say. Yeah, I mean, it's you might think it's a bit big-headed of me to do that, but well, look, if you're modest, you're never going to be a successful writer. It's that simple. You've got to believe in what you're doing. You've got to believe that what you're doing is good and is worth it. Otherwise, no one. So the reader will get that same feeling from you, and I think it is. I think it is. I think this is a book which, as I said, is the third part of a trilogy, which I think is a very, very important piece of allegorical fiction. I was inspired by many people, including George Orwell, who's to write a story which makes a serious point. It's set in an imaginary world. Well, it's our world, but it's like an alternative history. But it is it is essentially about the world we live in now. In fact, if you go to the description box, you'll see the other trailers I've made, which for the other two novels in the series, which give you a bit more background about what I'm talking about. Now, some people have asked me, well, what's the point? What's the point of writing a third book? Because if you've read the first two, you'll know that at the end of the second one, it kind of all comes together, and it feels like all the ends are tied. I don't want to provide spoilers for anyone, but there's a kind of closure at the end of the second book, and I know what they mean. I mean, I wasn't originally planning on writing a third one and making it a trilogy. The idea came to me late in the writing of Roswell Revealed, that I really should carry the story on, because there was one last thing to say. This particular book is kind of a postscript in a way. I wouldn't say it's as important as the other two. It's not really, but it is still an important postscript to what goes on in the other two novels, in Roswell Rising and Roswell Revealed. This is kind of like the last word. It's almost like the epilogue to the two other books. Although it's not, it's more than an epilogue. I mean, it's actually longer than the other two. It's slightly longer than Revealed, which in turn is slightly longer than Rising. Now, the publication of this book, Roswell Redeemed, it's the end of an era for me. It's the end of the Roswell trilogy. I wasn't sure whether to call it the Roswell trilogy or the Disclosure trilogy. I chose Roswell in the end, and it's sad. It feels sad for me, because it means I have to leave the story behind. I've been living this kind of parallel life, and I've been living it for over 3 years. Now, if you're a fiction author, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But the main characters have become like real people for me, even though they are non-existent. They're just figments of my imagination. I've got to say goodbye to them. I'll miss them. I really will. This does not mean I will never again write another story set in the Roswell universe. It's just, it is possible I will. I could come back to this particular universe at some point. But there's no doubt that this particular story, the Roswell story, as finished. It's finished for now. All the ends are tied. Now, honestly, there will definitely be no sequel to this story. Never. Certainly, and no other Roswell tale on the scale of this trilogy. And that's sad. It's of course it's inevitable. I can't write it forever, but it's I think it's time to let this trilogy go, and now for people to read it, and maybe the real continuation of the story will be in the real world, in a post-disclosure world. I really want to say thanks to everyone who has bought one or more of the Roswell novels. I hope you've enjoyed them in the past, and I hope you will enjoy this one. And of course, I've got to say a big thank you to the one and only Stephen Bassett, because he's the man who gave me the idea way back in the spring of 2015. It's as I explain in the background links. So do check that. Do please buy a copy of this book and read it. I hope you enjoy it. It's available now from Amazon, and it'll be spread to other platforms soon. It will be available very shortly in all good bookshops. If you walk into the bookshop and you don't see it on the shelf, then it's not a good bookshop. Never shop there again. I'm going to work on what I'm going to do next. I think is a box set, and this is something that's beyond my capability. So I'm going to work with a graphic designer and to try and create a box set. You know, where you have like a big cardboard box with the 3 books in. You know, and I'm working on one of those. So it'll be like a box set which you can like wrap up and give as a present in all in one go. That's what I'm going to try and do now for the 3 books. I'm also redesigning the covers and the details of all 3 books inside to match, to make it part of the Roswell trilogy. And so yeah, this is a series of books, 3 books, as I said. Now I do have other ideas of things I want to write, but nothing solid, nothing particular. I mean, I'm thinking of adapting my short story Ouija into a longer piece. Now, if you've watched my video Halloween and Ouija, you can actually listen to this story where I read out the story. It's also there's a link there which means you can read the text on the Ben's Bookcase blog. So panama-bb.blogspot.co.uk. I'm thinking about turning that into something longer. I'm also perhaps adapting it into a play, which could be maybe show created from which you could create perhaps a film or a stage show, a piece of theatre. That's another idea I have, but I've got nothing solid about any particularly new material I want to write. But I will, no doubt, some ideas will come to me, and when they do, I will let you know about them. So, thank you for watching. Enjoy the book. Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.